In this video, we're going to be looking at how to calculate the average value of a function. So that's like the question could be, what is the average value of a specific function between 0 to 4? So that means between those four values, what is the average value that the function has? So to calculate this, you can actually use a definite integral and some integration. So the formula is that the average value is equal to 1 over b minus a with a definite integral ba fx dx. And basically you just have to memorize that formula, see the types of questions a few times, and then whenever you see it, you'll be able to use this formula and you can get the right answer. So what do these b and a refer to? But when they ask for the average value of a function, they're going to ask between some certain points. So it would be like the average value between like 3 and negative 2. So in that case, b would equal 3, so b is a larger number, and then a will equal negative 2. So with this 1 over b minus a, this is literally telling us just how many values it is. So between 3 and negative 2, that would be 5. So we're going to get 1 over 5. And then we're going to get the area between these two values, between 3 and negative 2. So if we get a graph here, we want to find between this point, so 1 and 6. Then we find this area. We divide by 5, so the area in between here. We're going to get the average value, which could be something like this. This is the average value of this function between those 2 points. Now don't get this confused with the average rate of change, which is a very different concept. So using this formula, so make sure you got that written down, we'll go over two different questions. So find the average value of y equals 2x squared plus 4x over negative 1 to 5. So applying the formula, it's the average value. So that's going to be 1 over 6. We can use the formula 5 over negative 1. So basically how many values in between, so that's 1 on 6 times definite integral of 5 negative 1 2x squared plus 4x, and then you're anti-differing with respect to dx. So equal to 1 over 6 times 2 over 3 x to the cubed plus 2x squared 5 negative 1. So what I did is I increased the power to 3 divided by the new power, and then 4 divided by the new power is just 2. So 4 divided by 2 is 2. So we get 2x squared 5 negative 1. We sub those points in, so we get 1 on 6 times 2 on 3 times 125 plus 2 times 25 minus negative 2 on 3 plus 2. So it's going to get a bit messy here, so I'm going to rub up this off to get a bit more space. So going back up to the top, simplifying this down, we get 1 on 6. And if this is by hand, you have to keep going to see if you can get any simpler. So 3 times 125, so that's going to be 250 on 3 plus 50. So it's going to be 100, I'll do that in 2 steps. So 250 on 3 plus 150 on 3, because 50 is 150 on 3. And then this is minus negative 2 on 3 plus 6 on 3. So don't be afraid to take multiple steps if you need to. If you don't make any errors, then you can do it a bit quicker. So it's 400 on 3 minus 4 on 3, which gives us 1 on 6, 396 on 3. So you get 1 on 6 times 132, which is equal to 22. So that means you write down that the average value over negative 1 to 5 was equal to 22. And if it was a worded question, make sure you put in the units. So going on to our second question, so second example. So find the average value of sine 2x over 0 to 2 pi. So once again, you get the formula. The formula is basically foolproof. So 1 over 2 pi times integral of 2 pi 0 sine 2x dx. So this is equal to 1 on 2 pi and 1 on 2 negative cos 2x. Because when you diff this, the 2 comes down, so 2 on 2 is 1. The cos turns to sine, but with a negative. So you get rid of that negative there. So negative cos 2x, 2 pi 0. Sub those values in, and we get 2 pi times 2 is going to give us 4 pi. So cos 4 pi is just equal to 1, so we're going to get negative a half minus sub 0 in. So when we sub 0 in, we're going to get cos 0, which is just 1, so negative a half. And because the negative negative makes a positive half, so this is equal to 1 on 2 pi times negative a half plus a half, which is equal to 0. So this is just 1 over 2 pi times 0. So the average value of the function is 0. So that doesn't mean it doesn't change at all, but rather when you remember, when you graph sine, you're going to get a cyclical function. So what we've done here is we've gone along like that, and then along. So the average value of the function is 0, because even though it is positive for most of it, however, for half the time, you get the exact same negative values. So it makes sense that the average value is going to be 0. So once again, with all these average value questions, make sure you use a formula. As long as you can integrate the function, it becomes relatively straightforward and a systematic process.